All right, let's start with a good football matchup that's not Thursday Night Football. NFC North, Lions, Packers. Everybody's very fired up, Colin. We still don't know if Jordan Love's going to be able to go after that groin injury last week, but he spoke to his chances at playing.
Obviously, not practicing during the week is not the ideal format for trying to play a game, but like I said, things happen. So if that's a scenario, I know I'll be fine. But definitely it's not the ideal scenario for going into a big week.
I feel like we ask this often. Is this gamesmanship from the Packers on the floor? He's done it before this season.
The next 5 years, Packers-Lions could end up being the best rivalry in the NFL. These teams are stacked offensively. If Jordan Love plays, I like Green Bay plus the points. If he doesn't, I like Detroit. But I think Detroit's going to be boringly consistent. When you have a dominant offensive line, you don't go high and low. I mean, if you have great skill people and maybe a really talented pass rusher, you can get shut down and have quiet weeks. When your offensive line and your run game is great, you're kind of the same team every week. Right now, Green Bay's a little hot and cold. They're young. They don't have a dominant offensive line. Jordan Love, week to week, is he healthy? So Green Bay's giving you a little half to half. You're not sure exactly what you get, but you know they're talented. You're going to get the same game from Detroit, barring another major injury. You're going to get the same game for the next 10 weeks.
First outdoor game of the season, right? Does that mean they're going to go ground and pound with the heavy run game?
Yep. I mean, they only asked Goff to throw 18 times last week.
Well, last week was weird. They had like 225 yards of offense. The Titans had like 430. Now, they were trailing by 30 for much of the game.
Right.
But it was 14-14 first half, right? I mean, Tennessee moved the ball well. I don't see why Willis can't have a lot of success on the ground through the year. This is not a great Lions defense. If you stack all the contenders, who has the worst defense of Lions, Packers, Eagles? I guess Washington's a contender now, so it's probably them. But this Lions
Baltimore's
defense,
back end and Washington's back end are both
they're
very
soft.
sketchy.
But with no Hutchison, I mean, who's the best defender on the unit? Branch, the young safety?
Yeah, Branch.
I know. I think I'm on the Packers here, Colin. We'll talk about it tomorrow in headlines.
Let's talk about this. This clip kind of went in a different direction, so I'm pretty excited to talk about this for a few reasons. One, they keep mentioning Jared Goff, outdoors, and the Lions. They didn't say it specifically, but if you remember in the beginning of the season, before the season even started, they talked about how the Lions have, like, I forget the exact number now, but it was like 12 out of their first 14 games are all indoors or something like that. And they unpacked how Jared Goff's numbers are significantly better indoors versus outdoors, all of that, which is fine. I'm not here to necessarily unpack that. But there is this feeling that people have to be nervous or hesitant of Jared Goff outdoors, right? That's kind of a problem. That's kind of what they alluded to here a little bit here. So I'm excited to see how that narrative unfolds, for sure, to see if there's even any remote truth to that at this point in Jared Goff's career and with this team, with this coaching staff, this roster, all of that. So, and I know Lions fans are going to be like, oh, right, we're afraid of outdoors now. So I'm just excited to see how that narrative and how that story continues, to if it ends up being like a thing or just we'll just have to wait and see how that all unfolds, quite frankly. But also this kind of, there still seems to be some doubt around the Lions. And I know what Colin is saying when he's calling them boring, he does technically mean it as a compliment. But so, I don't know. I know a lot of Lions fans do not like hearing that, because to me, I don't understand how it's boring. I don't understand how anything the Lions do is boring. They play so hard and so physical and so relentless. I don't see how that's boring. Even if they just did the same play over and over. If they just called a hike and handed the ball off, and they just did that every single time, and they just ran right up the middle, and they just got 3 yards, 3 yards, 3 yards, 3 yards, and that was it. It still wouldn't be boring because of how hard and how flawless they execute, quite frankly. So I don't understand why he keeps calling them boring. And again, I know he technically means it as a compliment, but I just don't see how anyone could watch the Lions play and be like, oh, this is boring. Like it just It just doesn't make sense to me, honestly. It really, really doesn't. So every time he says it, I'm just always like, I don't get it. I really, really don't. And now it's like if Jordan Love believes in the Packers, and J-Mac is believing in the Packers now. Again, I do think the Packers are a great team. I really do, which I know Lions fans don't necessarily want to hear. But I do think that the Packers are a great team. But this is where we also continue to figure out who the Lions are. Because let's say Jordan Love does play. Put it this way. To a large degree, if the Lions are truly as dominant as I and a lot of other people believe they are, there would really be no true excuse to losing this game outside of Jordan Love truly playing and showing and proving to be an all-time great quarterback. And let me explain why. Because if the Lions are going up against Malik Willis, it's like they absolutely, this game should be Lions, right? You're truly this dominant. Again, think about the Chiefs. The Chiefs going up against a backup quarterback, they're not losing, right? And they're the Chiefs are the dynasty, so they're the reference point. And going up against Jordan Love, who hasn't been able to practice this week, who's not 100%, like, right? Like, if you're not as dominant and ferocious and a true Super Bowl contender, then yeah, losing this game you can be like, yeah, the Packers are a really great team and Jordan Love's a really great quarterback. But again, I'm talking about what the Lions have right now, right? I made the argument in multiple videos that they're the best team in the NFL. And if they're the best team in the NFL, outside of Jordan Love just absolutely, positively balling out, the fact that he's not practicing, the fact that he can't execute his offense as efficiently and as optimally, when you are a true, bona fide, dominant contender, if you give that team any advantage, the Lions now I'm talking about, they should be able to just attack and not look back. That is what we have seen historically with all of these great teams throughout the years. Whether it was the Patriots, the Chiefs, Broncos, whoever. We can go through all the lists of great teams over the years. Is that when you give them any little extra edge, any little advantage, the tiniest bit, it's over. It's over. That in order to beat a team like the Lions, if they're as dominant as we think they are, the opposing team needs to be 100%. They need to play near flawlessly. And if you give them even just any advantage, it's over. So those are the little things that I'm looking for here. And it's not to say that the Lions have to continue to win every single game. There's going to be a game they drop. There's going to be a game where things are just not working out right. A bad fumble, a drop pass that would have led to a touchdown, and you go for it on 4th and down, and now you don't get it right. It's not to say that the Lions are just going to win every single game from here on out, and there you go. And if they lose, it's proof that they're not dominant. Like, I'm not making that argument either. But it is just kind of like the circumstances. The only thing that they have technically going against them is that they are at Green Bay, right? So technically, it's, ever so slightly against them. But you can see that they're still even favored by 3.5 points on the road, which is pretty legit. That's a pretty legit spread. So yeah, that's honestly what I'm looking for. I'm really, really excited because the Lions have pretty much been on cruise control at this point with the teams that they've been facing. Right? It's just like the Packers, the Titans. It's just like kind of like whatever moments at this point. And so I want to see what they look like now against way more of a contender than the previous teams that they're facing. Whether it's Jordan Love or Malik Willis, this defense, the Packers have a really, really good run defense. I think it's top 10, top 5 even maybe. But so I'm curious to see what the Lions' approach is and how they tackle that and how they overcome that, and if that defense even looks good versus, say, a team like the Lions. So this is going to be a really fun game and an interesting game for sure. Again, whether Malik Willis or Jordan Love plays, this is a game where I think if we're going to try to evaluate the Lions, if we believe that the Lions, and I know it's still a divisional game, so there's still always that potential for it to be a close game. It's just if this is the Lions' year, the way I look at it is like if this is the Lions' year, if they're truly telling everybody, I don't care what happened in the past, I don't care what happened 10 years ago, I don't care what happened last year. This is this year. This is 2024. This is our year. we are going to win the Super Bowl, then they win this game pretty convincingly, right? We come in on Monday and we go, the Lions are the best team in the NFL. No one can doubt that. No one can doubt that. I don't care what happens in the Chiefs game on Monday versus the Bucs. The Lions are the best team, right? Like, to me, that's kind of what's at stake right now. So I'm excited. I am. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Detroit Lions facing the Packers, about them being boring and the issues of Jared Goff outside because I guess he shivers? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.